RadioColusa.com.
Time, weather, and highways. Case
It's time for an episode of the Backpage,
a weekly podcast where you'll hear from your host,
Lloyd, Kent, and Hayley,
as they cover their favorite hot topics in the greater Colusa County area.
Heck,
You might even hear an opinion or two.
now
It is now time
It's now time
for the Backpage.
for the Backpage.
it's time for the Backpage.
Yeah, I like doing side commentary while the intro's going because I know it's not going to end up on there.
You know what? I just might leave it on there
We
this
can
time.
say whatever we want.
Yeah.
It's never going to show up.
I think I'm going to leave it on there this time, just for the hell of it.
Oh, damn it, Lloyd.
Oh. Well, it's another week, another episode of the Backpage.
The Backpage.
Yeah. And no, we don't have a guest. So what was all that air horn
the
for?
guest.
Oh,
We're
you're
going to
the
be
guest.
Hayley tonight.
Oh,
We already know too much about you. What else could we possibly ask?
My favorite color is pink.
Are you sure?
Kind of. I like pink.
Well, anyway, welcome to the Backpage. We're here with your hosts, Lloyd,
Yeah.
me, and Hayley. This is going to be one of those episodes, isn't it?
It probably will be. But
No
you know,
structure. Just
we're just going to have to say that this is a podcast that allows for dynamic discussion of foundational information and a collaborative platform, providing a pipeline through fluidity and a launching pad for an informed citizenry.
Did you like Urban
Well, folks,
Dictionary
if,
podcast?
if you don't feel like listening to Wikipedia tonight, I personally will not blame you for hitting that stop button or the next button and
Has
heading to one of your other podcasts.
That was
Go ahead.
that
It's
was
right
like
there in front of you.
That was my own
Just push the button.
interpretation of
We won't even be mad.
Newsom at noon.
Oh.
Oh, I don't even watch those anymore.
Did you see, what was it, a couple days ago or yesterday or whenever it was? Some trucker drove by when he was
And
at the
honked his
Cal Fire
horn.
Station.
Oh, I could only imagine the anger on that one.
Oh, that was too funny.
But
He just
I
like
was
walked
dying.
away.
I just find it funny, like these words that are being used. It's like, we could cut this 2-hour press conference down in probably about 15 minutes if you start using regular English.
Yep.
Not trying to be so fancy, but
Fancy.
guess he has to
That's
get his
a
point.
word.
But
Not
what,
Does
the
Trump
word I
still
would
do
use.
his daily conference things?
Is he like Trump at 2? What time does he come on?
I don't know.
That's what it should be. Newsom at noon and Trump at 2.
Trumpet 2?
Or no, he'd come out at noon too and just be Trump at 12. Newsom at noon and Trump at 12.
But which one would you watch? None of them.
Right. I'm getting so tired of having to watch all of them all the
Yeah,
time.
typically I get tired of waiting to hear the vital information. So I just wait till 1 and I look at the write-ups from the papers.
Yeah. Look at the
Well, not
write-ups
the papers, but the...
or hop on YouTube and watch the recorded version so you can skip.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, reason why for that topic is that the County of Colusa is now open, sorta.
Question mark?
What do you mean
Question
by
mark.
open and when?
Well, the Board of Supervisors have, they had a really long meeting and discussion on Wednesday about the opening, and at the very last minute of,
Well, yeah, we had it Friday and we sent that off.
that was a 2-hour meeting.
And then Wednesday, we had a meeting that was supposed to let us know what the state said. Well, the state hadn't said anything. There was a lot of back and forth, and they were nitpicking on semantics and a few not real like content. There was a couple content things in there that they had changed. They hadn't finished getting back to us. We basically spent 2 hours talking about, okay, well, what are we going to do? We need to do something. And then we were literally seconds away from just doing what we wanted to do.
You were like, it was like an inmate on death row.
Yeah.
Waiting for the
when
call.
that call from the governor comes in and pardons him right before they turn the switch on the chair. But Bonnie Davies stands up and she got her email and says, we got approved. We're in. So the County of Colusa is open at phase 2A and 2B combined into one single phase 2. So we skipped the first half. went straight to the second half of phase 2. And
Can you tell us what phase 2 is?
Yes, I have a whole list of everything right in front of me, and I'll go over that in just a second. So the action we ended up taking yesterday, Wednesday, whatever day it was. I'm losing track of my days.
On Wednesday.
The action we ended up taking was similar to what Butte and Tehama are doing. Was they got their variance, their attestation, whatever you want to call it, and they immediately sent a letter to the state following up that approval, asking to move towards phase 3. So we made the motion to send a letter to the state to move towards phase 3, and we'll see where that ends up. We have another meeting on Tuesday, so we should have an update on that. But without further dudes, I will go through the list of what that means, what phase 2 opening means for the County of Colusa. This is for individuals. If you need to continue isolating when you're ill, anyone feeling ill should stay home for 10 days after symptoms start, and 3 days after a fever ends and respiratory symptoms are improving. Continue physical distancing when in public. Maintain physical distance from others, at least 6 feet. Continue good hygiene practices. Wash hands, use hand sanitizer, clean frequently touch surfaces, and cover coughs and sneezes. Limit gathering. Gatherings should be limited to 10 people or less. This doesn't mean, if you're an employer and you have 30 employees that you can only bring 10 employees to work. It just means if you're having some kind of social gathering or something like that.
Birthday, barbecue.
Yes, yeah, you can go ahead and have those now, but keep it to 10 people or less. Wear face coverings. When in public, wearing a face covering, i.e. bandana, cloth face mask, etc., is encouraged. Vulnerable, high-risk individuals. Vulnerable and high-risk individuals are encouraged to stay at home. Households with vulnerable members should be aware that other members of the household may increase risk of transmission if resuming normal activities. Precautions should be taken to protect the vulnerable household members. So if you live with grandma and grandpa, be cognizant of the fact that you getting back to your normal life could increase the chance of contracting and bringing that home to grandma and grandpa, which would be part of the vulnerable population. So just be aware of those risks and mitigate them accordingly. Travel may resume. So before, non-essential travel was pretty much encouraged to not happen. Now travel may resume. Congregate settings. Some congregate settings may open with, before I go on to congregate settings, that first part about individuals, I guess if you wanted to sum up all of them, we're relying more on self-responsibility and self-policing is kind of what you should be doing based on your risk factors, and please continue to do those things. Be
a good neighbor.
Yes, and be a good neighbor. Don't put others at risk because of your decisions.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where that leads. Congregate settings. Moving on. Some congregate settings may open with appropriate physical distancing and hygiene protocols. Schools, in collaboration with the Superintendent of Schools and the California Department of Education. Camps may open. Organized youth activities, for example, softball, baseball, football, tennis. If there's a kids tennis team somewhere, I don't think there is. Swim club could probably, no, actually they can't because pools are phase 3. Anyway, I'll get to that. But organized youth activities and also childcare facilities. So if you had a child that was in childcare and you were home taking care of them because childcare was closed, you may now send them back to childcare as long as that facility is opening, and then you can return to work. Restaurants may open for limited dine-in options. Tables must allow for appropriate physical distancing. No more than half the capacity should be reached to promote physical distancing. Takeout options should continue to be promoted, and frequent cleaning and sanitation must occur.
Is there a limit of how many people can sit at a table?
At a table?
Yeah.
No.
I would say it would be the 10 number.
Oh.
That's what I would. But
I would say so, unless it was, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where you're going with that. Okay. I was thinking, how big is a table allowed to be?
If you were going to a restaurant and.
Right.
Yeah.
But as far as
so like a family capacity, of 4 could sit at a table together.
For sure. Absolutely. Okay. They don't need to sit 6 feet apart because they're a family.
No. It's just the tables themselves,
right. That's what I
exactly. 6 feet between different parties.
Yes.
Yes. And then one caveat I will throw in with the restaurants. I know OSHA put out some guidelines for restaurants to follow.
Oh my Lord, yes.
They are incredibly dense and convoluted, and I don't even understand half of them. So you restaurateurs out there, as far as the county and all of that matters, it's just the things I just talked about. As far as the other requirements, you're going to look to your appropriate state agencies and look for guidance from them.
And if you're interested in those guidelines, we have them on the Pioneer Reviews website. You can find them there.
And that's nothing the county would be enforcing. That would all be on OSHA.
Yes.
So the county's just going to be looking at physical distancing, half capacity, and things of that nature. Destination retail may reopen. That being said, curbside pickup is encouraged. Return to work and business should be phased, provided appropriate physical distancing measures and ensure sick employees do not come to work. Meeting rooms, break rooms, and other common areas should remain closed or be limited in capacity to provide physical distancing between employees. So if your break room is tiny, maybe just close it. If your break room is large, maybe let 2 to 3 people in there at a time. Use your best judgment. And remember, it's as an employer, it's on you. COVID-19 can be a work comp related illness.
It's not that it can be. It is a works comp, and it is an OSHA.
So you need to
Ew.
do. Yeah. So you need to, as an employer, do what you can to protect yourself from those liabilities. So just be careful when addressing those types of things. Protection and accommodation should be provided to employees who are high risk for COVID-19. I'm assuming that means appropriate PPE and whatnot. Again, follow OSHA guidelines with that. Surfaces should be cleaned frequently. Sick employees should remain at home or go home immediately if they become ill at work. Outdoor recreation may open with the following guidance. Physical distancing should be promoted and maintained. Equipment should be cleaned and sanitized after use. For example, golf course providing golf clubs or golf carts, etc. That being said, shameless plug, East Park Reservoir is now open.
Yes.
So if you would like to get out of your house for the weekend to go camping and just get away from it all, head on up to East Park Reservoir.
Be a good neighbor.
And be a good neighbor while you're there. Elective surgeries may resume. This is, I think, one of the best parts of this. Elective surgeries may resume as clinically appropriate. Licensed providers such as that's a separate thing. That should have been a different bullet point. But anyway, elective surgeries may resume. So if you had a mole you needed removed or something like that, you can go ahead and get that taken care of now, provided that your doctor is actually open to taking patients. All that said, licensed providers such as cosmetology, bars, dental, medical, etc., should refer to their state licensing boards and national associations for guidelines, provisions, requirements, and timelines for reopening related to their particular profession. Please refer to the listing below for those businesses that may not reopen, and I'll go over those here in a second. But the long and short of the last thing I just said was if you in any way, shape, or form are required to have a license from the state, please refer to those state guidelines for your industry.
Yes.
They might start swinging hammers, and as much as the county would like to help you and defend you, I don't know how much there is we can do. So we will step in when and where appropriate in any way we can, but make sure you're referencing those boards. For example, dental should refer to CDA guidelines. Cosmetology should refer to the State Board of Barbering and Cosmetology and all that stuff. Bars with ABC, etc. It sounds like ABC is starting to back down from what I've been hearing, just anecdotally.
Just a tiny bit from the CDC's guidelines with serving food and alcohol, that alcohol transactions can be made as long as it's with food.
Right.
So you can't go into a restaurant, order a beer. You have to order food with it. 2
weeks ago, they were telling them you couldn't serve anything. Yes. People could only take it to go. And then last week, they were trying to tell people they had to shut down their dine-in experience as well, which they don't really have jurisdiction over food, but they were trying. And then now I guess they've said, we're sorry. It's okay. You can serve.
I know this is going to get off topic, but I kind of wonder how much lobbying was done behind the scenes with like Coca-Cola and Coors, Budweiser, because you can sit down in a restaurant and have a Coke or a Pepsi, but
you're
you
Molson
can't have a beer.
or Anheuser-Busch or Coors or whoever you are, and people are telling restaurants they can serve Coke and iced tea and milkshakes and all that other stuff, but they can't serve alcohol. And your, I guess, would it be 14th Amendment rights would be being violated at that point because different laws are being applied differently to different people. Like, anyway, I could totally see that. I absolutely could agree with that. But who knows? Moving on, what remains closed for the time being? And as I mentioned, we voted on Wednesday to send a letter to try to move into phase 3 as quickly as possible. These are things that would possibly be opening in phase 3. But what remains closed as of right now would be bars, senior residential and care facilities should be closed to non-essential visitors. Physical services, personal services such as hair and nail salons, tattoo parlors, gyms, and fitness studios, community pools, large congregate settings such as churches, synagogues, mosques, temples, theaters. Anyway, so there's that. You want me to go through it again?
No, I think we're good.
The people can just hit rewind and repeat.
So is the casino, what are they, like phase 4?
You know, I don't.
Phase 3.
Here's the thing. I don't know, because nothing calls out casinos specifically in the stuff I've seen.
Just asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend. Let me see. So phase 3 would be bars, restaurants. Bars would open. Restaurants can resume normal businesses.
Is it like concerts and stuff, like amusement parks, like stage 4?
I'm reading it right now. If you just patiently wait, I'll get to it.
I'm assuming they'd fall under stage 4, maybe. I don't know.
Senior residential healthcare facilities can allow more relaxed visitation, physical distancing removed from worksites, businesses, gyms. Gatherings of 50 are permitted. Community pools may open with a limitation of half capacity. Personal services such as nail salons, tattoo parlors, etc. may reopen. That's phase 3. Phase 4 would be churches, synagogues, mosques, and temples. Bars and restaurants may resume normal business capacities. Gyms may resume normal operations and capacities. Community public schools may reopen at full capacity. Senior residential healthcare facilities can resume normal visitation procedures. Physical distancing restrictions removed from words. Yeah, see, so there's casinos aren't specifically called out in any specific place. If I was to make a judgment call, which by no way, in shape or form, am I actually doing that right now? This is merely a guess. I would venture to guess that casinos are along the way of large congregate settings like churches, synagogues, and mosques and temples. Bars, gyms, etc. Just because it's so dense in there.
Well, and if our county itself opened, I don't know how much traffic our local casino would get from local people, because usually they get people from out of the area.
I'm sure if they came up with a plan to keep capacity at a minimum, and maybe the machines, for example, every third machine was only allowed to be occupied or something. If they had some kind of plan like that, I'm sure they'd be fine.
Yeah.
The other side of the coin is they're on sovereign land. So how much jurisdiction does anyone actually have over them?
I'm not.
I'd have to ask that question.
I
feel like I should know the answer to that, but
I've actually from the beginning I have been asking that question myself, because isn't it native sovereign land? And
all I know is my experiences with that,
because our law enforcement
are very gray.
Yeah.
They're very gray. Our law enforcement can't go out there unless they're invited.
Yes.
It's a strange deal. So it's hard to tell when you can and can't tell them what to do.
Well, one thing I'd say is that I'm glad that this happened. The county received their notice to start reopening, because for one, people need to get back to work.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. Today, I pulled together some statistics. So in the last 8 weeks, 36 million workers have filed for first-time unemployment benefits, a record pace not seen since the Great Depression.
36 million nationwide.
Nationwide.
Okay. That's basically almost the entire population of the state of California.
About 23%
nationwide
of California's workers have lost their jobs since business shutdowns since mid-March. Governor Newsom stated that he expects unemployment to peak about 24.5% by the summer and possibly 30% by the end of the year. Now, the 36 million workers nationwide, that's California's population.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's basically the population of California.
The EDD said it has processed 4.7 million unemployment benefit claims in California since the week ending of March 14th. During the recession of 2008, to put this in perspective, the EDD processed only 700,000 claims.
Not even a million?
In just a 2-month period.
Wow.
Just 2 months ago, before the COVID crisis, California had an unemployment rate of only 5.3%.
Yeah, it was low.
It was very low. The EDD allows for some people now to actually turn down work and instead to continue collecting unemployment benefits if they claim to have a health condition that puts them in the high risk group. The EDD is currently paying an additional $600 per week, which expires in July.
Which by the way, I'm gonna get a little opinion piece in here. That's $600 a month that the Fed's authorized.
Yeah,
I know it was a quick knee-jerk reaction. They're trying to help a situation that was not thought through at all.
No.
Because what is happening now, and I get it. It's helping people. I totally understand. But the downside of this is you've got folks, and like you were saying, EDD's making a lot of exceptions for people to stay on unemployment. And now you've got folks, and I know a few of them personally, you've got folks who are making more money on unemployment than they were making at their job.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is you're forcing an employer to compete with unemployment. And that should never, ever be a thing.
And one of my employees would make significantly more if she was on unemployment. And she's my full-time employee. Unemployment
is and I don't know the exact numbers. I know they pay you somewhere between 45 and 55% of what your regular wages are, right? Somewhere that's typical. So if you make, $1,000 a week, we'll make the math easy. We'll say 50%. That puts you at $500. But EDD tops out at $450. The most you can make a week is $450. So when you've got people who are making, say, $600 a week, because they're close to minimum wage or whatever the case is.
No. $600 a week is $15 an hour.
Right. That's only $3 above minimum wage.
Yeah.
So they're making close to minimum wage, $600 a week. They would qualify for, we'll say, like I said, we'll make the math easy. We'll say 50% because it's somewhere close to that. They would qualify for $300 from EDD.
Yep.
Then they get the extra $600 from the feds, which brings them up to $900 a week. They're not making $300 extra. They're making 150% of their normal wage.
Yeah.
To be on unemployment. And like I said, you're making your employers compete with unemployment. And people, I wouldn't want to go back to work.
No.
Why would I go back to work if I can make way more money to sit at home? And maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the intention. Maybe they're trying to encourage people to stay at home.
To maybe push the nationwide and bump of, what was it? Not unemployment, but the minimum wage to 15 instead of the 7 something it is right now.
But then there's a lot of people not wanting to go back to work, which is another problem.
If they were trying to push employers, if they actually wanted people to compete with unemployment and push employers to offer more money so that the unemployment wasn't more than them, they'd have to pay them somewhere in the neighborhood of $25 to $26 an hour.
Jesus.
Which is $10 higher than the proposed $15
Ladies and
wage.
Gentlemen, your newspaper price just went up to $10.
I don't know. Like I said, maybe it was the intention from the beginning. Maybe it wasn't.
It was a good intention, but it should have been fully thought through. Yeah.
And so the EDD said it has paid out more than $12 billion in benefits to jobless workers since March.
Wow.
$12 billion.
That's incredible.
Which, I mean, and then in today's Newsom's report, he was talking about state employees now may have to take a 10% cut in their wages, which is going to be done through hours. So they're going to start furloughing departments like on Fridays and stuff like that, to try to recoup some of this funding.
We'll see how that goes with their unions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They've all got unions.
Well, it's funny. It's like when there's been arguments made about funding and, especially these counties that are trying to move forward with, going against the governor. And it's like, we're going to pull your funding and all this. And
what funding?
I'm going, it's not promised at all. Sure, they said we're going to give you funding, but where's it going to come from when it doesn't exist anymore?
What blows my mind is, we came into this year with an $8 billion surplus.
Yep.
$8 billion surplus. We had, and I'll give credit to Governor Brown where it's due, with his rainy day fund that he built up, had a 21, verify my numbers if you get a chance. I believe it's a $21 billion reserve. Okay. $8 billion surplus in the budget and a $21 billion reserve fund in California. I don't know what our level of debt that we're paying back is, but that's our cash on the books. In 2 months, we went from $30 billion in the black Newsom just announced a $54 billion deficit. $54 billion deficit. I mean, that's a swing of over $80 billion in just a couple of months with a combination of everything going on. And that's not to say it's anybody's fault.
And the wildfire season hasn't even started.
Just wait. Just wait. I understand they're asking the feds for money. Maybe the feds will give us a bailout. But
what are they going to do? Start rolling up the printing presses and just start printing money?
That's what we do every time.
I mean,
we turn on the presses, we print more cash, and you devalue the dollar, and inflation skyrockets.
Well, I guess some good news.
I was wrong.
No. I was trying to quickly look up your facts, but the places that I could find it aren't easily.
You can't fact check me on the fly, Lloyd.
I wish I could. I haven't learned that.
What kind of newspaper you running here?
That's why I have all my notes beforehand. You need to do your homework. One of the other things is that the Disney's Shanghai resort opened up. So
I saw that.
Yeah, they had a sellout, albeit it was mandated low capacity and guests entering had their temperatures taken. In a video I saw, they were taking temperatures of their hands. So
really?
Like they would hold up their hands and they would take the little temperature.
How is that accurate?
I'm like, how is that accurate?
It's not.
I mean, I've always questioned those air gun temperature takers as it is. How accurate are they? But they're taking of someone's hand. They were showing this little kid and they took a temperature of his hand and it was like, okay. Disney themselves reported a $1 billion loss during the COVID
I could
quarter,
imagine.
which is now being called.
I believe it.
Yeah. $1 billion. It's like, wow.
Yeah, they're an example of a company that can weather that. They have enough money in reserves. They can totally cover that.
And they got investors. And
they can probably cover the parks being shut down for a couple, 3 years. Well, maybe not that long, but
Six Flags hasn't shared any reopening dates for 2020, but for any of its 26 North American parks. However, it said that when they do decide to open, that visitors will have to make advance reservations to limit capacity and allow for physical distancing.
I could see that. No more probably buying tickets at the gate day of. Has to be all pre-purchased. I could see that.
With the whole CARES Act, we were talking earlier how they did the $600 extra in unemployment benefits. One of the things that they did is that if you have a student loan, you may want to check your credit score. It could be dropping. Many individuals with student loans are finding that the drop in their credit score is due to the recent federal CARES Act that allowed student loan payments to be paused. This temporary relief with the coronavirus crisis is causing some grief as some student loan debt servicers are incorrectly reporting missed payments to credit bureaus. If you have a student loan, you need to check your credit score and discuss the discrepancies with your loan companies.
Well, yeah, if you don't pay your monthly premium, you're going to get a 30-day late, a 60-day late, a 90-day late, and your credit score is going to drop.
Yes, but with the way that the law was written, it was supposed to be a pause. It's not a deferral. It's a pause. They're not supposed to be reporting it, but some of them were. It didn't list any company specifically, but
was it written that way?
That's what the
because I heard the new ledge that included that $2,000 a month stimulus check and no Illinois Mars bill about the rent and the mortgage stopping. There was a piece of there that said people are not allowed to accumulate debt during the crisis. So in other words, if they're stopping paying, you're not collecting interest.
They're federally secured loans, though.
Okay.
So it'd be much like the PPP loans, the EDIL loans and stuff like that.
Okay. So technically they shouldn't be getting 30, 60, 90-day lates? And
they're technically not supposed to be.
And this is
a report out of Arkansas.
Contact Equifax, TransUnion, and
contact them. So check your credit scores.
TransUnion,
Mine
Equifax,
went down 2 points. And
Two whole points?
I don't even have a student loan.
Gosh.
What happened?
You probably racked up some credit card debt, buddy.
I was actually, Did you use your credit card a little bit too much?
That'll happen. Really. Did you get over 30% usage on your credit card?
No.
That'll add a couple points.
I mean, I bought something on Macy's.
There you go. That's it. Especially Macy's. The only one that's worse is Nordstrom's. Do you have a Nordstrom's card?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Don't judge me.
Cut that thing up now. They're closing in Sac anyway.
They're still open in Roseville. Still order online.
I read an article that said negative interest rates are inevitable in the United States. Inevitable. Apparently the Fed commented that they would not consider them, and they never have and they never will. but some other experts were saying it has to happen eventually.
Well, aren't gas prices, not gas prices, but prices a barrel of oil are like negative?
Yes, they're negative right now.
They can't give it away?
It's last I heard, and maybe this has changed since, but there were tankers with oil on them offshore waiting for people to buy them. There's so much of a supply of oil right now that's not getting used that they're giving away the oil, basically. They're paying people to take the oil because it's costing them money to sit offshore.
I'm not sure how to read oil prices.
I didn't know you knew how to read either.
Nah. I have no idea how to read oil prices.
Is it PPB, price per barrel?
Yeah, but is it WTI crude bent?
Yeah, WTI crude.
It says 27.76, so plus 0.20.
So is it $27 a barrel?
That
can't be right. Let me see what you're looking at. Yeah, it's WTI. I guess it came back up.
Well, some people are getting sent back to work too, so there's more people on the road.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably.
Summer's starting to gear up.
I know. I'm
wasn't
seeing
exactly
a lot more
following the price of
traffic
oil.
on my way to work. I liked it for a while when I was
Can't fly
one
at
of
90 on the freeway
car.
anymore.
I never did 90.
Oh Lord!
Wink, wink.
Some of these the traffic getting back to work.
You know the CHP commander listens to this, right?
He doesn't know what I drive.
Shout out to the CHP commander in Williams. Hayley drives excessive speeds.
No, I do not.
Between the hours of 7:30 and 8 on I-5 between
drive-
Williams
Personal
and
license
Woodlands.
plate. Hello, kitty.
Not.
Did we just laugh exactly the same? The same exact way for the same exact start and finish.
That was.
You know you've been living with somebody for way too long.
Yeah, that exactly
You know you've been in
was.
quarantine with someone for way too long.
One thing I do have to
be
say,
suspicious.
I have to give
Stop it.
the county lots of credit when they wrote that order, or not the order, but the plan, that they used the words of physical distancing and not social distancing.
I would love to take credit, but I had nothing to do with writing that plan.
That I was like, finally, somebody who is listening. It's not social distancing. Social distancing is when you're a recluse and you just lock yourself in the bedroom and you don't come out.
Or when
that
you
sounds
give
great
your
to
friend the
me.
silent treatment.
Yeah. Or cars cannot social distance from each other.
True. Unless they're from Pixar's Cars.
That is true.
They can social distance.
But that's only in the imagination.
Is it?
Maybe. I don't know.
What else we got? What else is fun to talk about? Oh, did we need to give somebody a shout out? You said we had to give somebody
We're
a
going to do that
shout
at the
out.
end of the show.
Oh, at the end?
We're going to do that at the
Okay.
end of the show.
Did we get any more phone calls?
We did not get any phone calls.
Come on, people.
No, I know. You can, if you're interested, you can give us a call at 530-701-3533 and leave us a voicemail. Tell
That's
us your thoughts.
530-701. I forgot the rest.
3533.
3533.
Yeah, so you can give us your thoughts. Your
Press 1 for Lloyd.
no.
Press 2 for Kent.
It goes straight to voicemail.
Press 3 for Hayley.
It'll ring a few times before.
Press 4 for Levi. I don't know who that is. I just
What can't remember what I was going to say.
he's
now.
the new intern.
He's
We
the new
got
intern.
rid of the old one.
I have some disappointing news.
What was his name? I don't even remember his name.
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey. Yeah, that piece of garbage.
So remember a while back we went and saw Nikki Glaser.
Yeah.
And I've always been a fan of her show.
And you wouldn't go backstage because you were a wuss, but whatever.
Yes, I
Did we
was.
ever say? Yeah, people knew that. Did we ever share that
Yeah, we
story?
did.
Okay.
Yeah, we did. We're not going to share it again.
Mm-hmm.
But been a fan of her show. It is no longer on Sirius Satellite.
What?
So is that official?
She get
That is
canceled?
official.
She
Like you got
she
this-
made the announcement today.
But what she said, because actually after you had
what's-
told me that,
what's
I
official?
went because her show starts at like 7 a.m. right?
About 7 a.m. Yeah.
I was trying to find it on the Comedy Central channel. I wasn't on.
She
No.
get canceled?
She did not get canceled. She wasn't fired, and she didn't leave. It's just that during this time there is no money, and so she has the
They're on
option.
pause.
She has an option to come back. I'm assuming, but from her thing, she wasn't canceled. She wasn't fired, and she didn't leave. But she does have her podcast that she's trying to keep up every day.
You
So
think they would leave like the page up with old shows?
you would
Yeah.
think, or even the show where she said goodbye.
Right.
I mean, her final show, so to say, and it was
Right.
gone.
Poof.
Poof.
Hmm.
A little suspicious.
Things that make you go,
a
Yeah.
little suspicious.
don't be 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 suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Stop it.
Oh. We didn't even get to the best part of that song.
Don't be
Suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
So let's get on the lighter side of things. And you guys been doing anything fun, exciting? What's been going on?
What have you been doing for fun, Hayley?
Practicing our Don't Be Suspicious song.
Did you watch Trolls 3 yet?
No. I'm on the hunt to find...
I figured you would have written, directed, and filmed that thing already for them.
No,
because you are so obsessed.
No, I'm not obsessed. I just
She's
like the
obsessed.
movie.
She wants to go to McDonald's and get Happy Meals just so she can get the stupid Trolls toys.
I want one
Hey, I'm going
toy.
to McDonald's. What do you want? I don't know. Maybe a McDouble. Wait a minute. Wait. Don't they have Trolls toys? I want a kid's meal. I think that's pretty much exactly how that conversation went.
Oh.
And then she got disappointed when she got a My Little Pony mask or something.
Yeah, it wasn't even the Trolls toys.
You did get a Trolls toy in one of them.
I did, but they're not the ones I want. I want Cooper.
Well, they don't have Cooper.
They don't have them.
I even went... Okay.
It's probably one of those toys that you have to like go to Southern California or back in New
If
York or
anyone
something to
has
get.
a Cooper toy, send it to me. I want to set it right here.
Because you remember when they were doing the Monopoly thing?
Mm-hmm.
That certain areas of the country got certain
Pieces?
So it was like
Oh.
Northern California would never get a boardwalk.
Do they even
sticker.
do Monopoly anymore?
No.
Yeah, no?
No. They don't. They do it digitally now. Where you get the little code and they enter it in and then it collects
Okay.
the ones for you. So a computer automatically generates it.
What? Oh, because they were only sitting in a certain place. Okay, got it.
I don't know how many years ago.
People didn't
Allegedly.
People didn't
Let's say
have
that allegedly.
They didn't have an equal and fair opportunity
Yes.
at winning.
That used to be the funnest part of like work
Oh, I
sometimes
know.
was your everyone, okay, it is McDonald's, let's do our office game piece.
Which fun fact,
Fun fact.
you don't have to buy McDonald's to get McDonald's pieces.
No.
No.
You can actually write them a letter,
There's
a
a lot of
self-addressed envelope,
stuff.
and say that you're requesting your game pieces, and they will
Actually-
send you game pieces.
For most legitimate
They have to
games
do that.
they are legally required.
Yeah.
Even
No.
like with Snickers when they
No
say
purchase required.
yeah.
Like with this is a little thing. Like Victoria's Secret with some of their stuff, like you get a free panty, which is underwear. You can write
I didn't know that.
you
You
can
know that, Lloyd? I had no idea. I thought they just
You
called them
can
underwear.
write-
There are all kinds of new things, we're creating an informed citizenry.
you can write a letter and they'll send you one. You don't have to go to the store and give the coupon.
And buy
Thinking-
6 other things to go
Yeah.
with it because you're already there.
Would that work with your Crocs that you keep on trying to get?
She won them!
Well,
Or no,
I
will you-
didn't win them. My coworker won them today.
Yeah, I
little-
actually got them.
Side note, I'm really essential at work right now.
Yeah, she is.
So
a whole lot
don't
of
judge me
essential.
when I tell the story. But Crocs right now, and if you didn't know, they're giving away a free pair of Crocs to healthcare workers. So you have to log on.
Now, who does that include?
It can include, there's a list.
I meant nurses, CNAs,
Yes. Hospital,
apparently dental.
dental. I think we fall under other. I'm sure
Other.
there was on
Hey,
a,
Lloyd, you could fall under other.
there was,
Right?
No. Okay, so you have, this is the
No.
catch. You have to,
Personal trainers.
no, you have to put in the company that you work for. So they
Okay.
want to make sure it's a health, like a company, your employer.
Yeah.
And then they want your employee email for
So
that.
let me ask you this. What about like first responders? Like could an EMT on an ambulance?
I'm sure you could.
I feel like they would qualify. But let's take that one step further. What about an on-duty firefighter?
Firefighters show up to a scene wearing Crocs.
Exactly. You see where I'm going with this. I feel like at some point you got to draw the line
A police officer.
and wear that. Oh my God, that'd be great. Jim Sasso, full uniform, bright yellow Crocs. Actually, that bright yellow ones would match the sheriff's outfits because they
I'm
have the
trying
little
to
stripes.
read what it says.
I'm gonna get yellow Crocs for all those boys and girls.
Okay, here we go. Here's the options.
Why are
you
we
can
promoting
be-
Crocs?
Doctor, nurse, medical assistant, hospital maintenance or janitor, firefighter is on here,
Really?
police other, and then I
Police
can't.
too?
Yep, I can't tell what the other one option is because it's kind of blurry.
Because I wouldn't consider police healthcare. Yeah, sometimes they do CPR when in dire circumstances. I almost wouldn't consider fire health. I mean, yeah, they are because they're ambulance personnel for sure because their job is exclusively healthcare. But firefighter's kind of a gray line, and I say this as a firefighter. But the other side of the coin is, what the heck is a cop and a firefighter going to do with a pair of Crocs?
Well, there's a TikTok series going on where I guess police officers are sitting there and they act like they're pumping up their shoes and they say something about Donut 3000 or whatever, and they take off running. And it's like, I challenge a police officer wearing Crocs and do the same thing.
Crocs are super
Busted
comfortable.
ankle.
But so yeah, they're giving away free pairs of Crocs. You have to be checked in line by 8 a.m. They start drawing at 9. So after a week of trying, my coworker won, and it was pretty exciting. Now, my turn. I just gotta see if I can win myself some Crocs. I'll let you know.
And now,
So the Maxwell Parks and Recreations Board has approved to continue with a tax measure to increase the district's assessment from its current $15 per year to $45.27 per year. This is the first tax assessment increase since its formation in 1985. The majority of the fee will be based on parcels with a dwelling. Parcels without a dwelling... Parcels, excuse me. Parcels...
I like parcels.
I like parcels either.
Sounds like a name.
There, I'm going to go.
One person named Mr. Parcell will be paying all of the taxes.
Would be billed at 21 cents per acre. For farmland of 43 acres or more would be a flat fee of $9.05. The proposed fee is less than half of the Arbuckle Parks and Recreations District, which is at $101.12 per year per residential property.
Man, that sounded really well prepared. Did you just direct read that from the paper?
I just directly read that from the paper,
And
just
I
like
just-
Colusa County churches
Uh-oh.
host Mother's Day services. So that was kind of cool. The churches are back. And
Yeah.
So I interrupt you. What were you saying?
No, I was trying to find the article as you were reading it because it wasn't from
It's
the
on
front,
the front
page.
page. Yeah, it is.
Well, but not the part you were reading.
No.
The part you were
Because
reading.
I'm actually prepared this week and have my own synopsis.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm trying to get more.
Anyway, I want to hear about the churches. Back to the churches.
I don't know much about it other than the churches held Mother's Day services. It was a great turnout.
Gave away flowers or something, didn't they?
Yeah, gave away flowers with a little note on it for mothers, roses or something.
That's pretty cool what they're doing now
Yeah,
with the drive-in setups and all that.
I'm glad that they can adapt. I know a lot of people were attending the online services.
It's just
and
not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
No. And I'm pretty sure even sitting in your car is not
even
the
sitting
same.
in your car is not the same.
But I wonder if this is really and truly going to bring back drive-in stuff. Because if you can't go to a theater,
drive-in theaters are
Drive-in
they're already,
theaters.
I forget where it is, but there's already a couple making comebacks right now.
I mean,
I know there's one down in Sac. I don't know if it's open or not.
Wasn't there one up north somewhere? Chico, Redding,
Maybe? Question
I'm
mark?
not sure. And the city of Colusa has bumped its compensation for the elected city clerk. Compensation is now $3,000 per month, retroactive April 1st.
You get $3,000 a month?
$3,000 a month. This is a part-time position and assumes a minimum of 80 hours per month.
What is it over at the city of Williams? I want to say it's like $100 a month.
Yeah, because
because no one ever runs, so
it's an elected appointed position.
Well, it's elected, but nobody ever runs.
That's
So
what I
they
mean.
end up just appointing one of the staff girls there.
member, yeah.
The staffers.
And I think, $100 a month.
Yeah, it's like $100 a month.
Well, Colusa City gets $3,000.
Man.
A Williams High School film student has had their screenplay titled Rigged read professionally by the Latino Film Institute. Written by CeeLo
Green?
Tercero. The story is about a girl who overcomes her fears of being judged with the help of her friend and runs for class president. The reading can be viewed on YouTube, and we have the link there in the paper.
Okay, so let me get this right. They wrote a screenplay,
Yes.
and the screenplay was read through,
It was read through the Latino Film Institute.
and they put that on YouTube.
And it's on YouTube.
They did like a table read of it.
A table read of it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
there was
super
supposed
cool.
to be a red carpet event where they were supposed to do a bunch of them that have been selected through this particular program. But unfortunately, COVID-19 got that canceled. So,
That is cool.
so they did it through YouTube.
Not the COVID part.
No. that was cool.
That's pretty neat.
Let's see here. We have the city of Colusa discussed its downtown revitalization in a series of community Zoom meetings. City Mayor Josh Hill spoke with urban strategist Michelle Reeves and offered insights into making the downtown area more successful. Reeves said that making the downtown area more attractive is key to successful retail and cited similarities between the city of Winters and its quaint shops, outdoor cafes, and she recommended plenty of brand identity, brightly colored facades, almost said facades, facades, an attractive window display, and sidewalk displays. A city consultant was excited about promoting online retail and how businesses could get their shops online. However, Reeves stated that brick and mortar stores need to focus on brick and mortar as resources are limited for maintaining both levels of retail.
Did you say Rick and Morty stores?
Brick and mortar.
Oh. What the heck?
As for the government's role in development, Reeves said the city's primary function is to maintain its public streets and trees.
No, go ahead. Please be candid.
Please. What did you go to?
What you got?
Never mind.
She has an opinion, but doesn't dare to ask it.
Well, I never mind.
Deep subject. Turn it sideways.
Deep
It's
subject.
subtle.
I'm really tired, and I just heard it. and I
Hi,
was like,
tired. Can I
"What?"
call you really?
I was like, well, aren't the trees falling apart? Aren't they cutting them down?
Pretty much.
So,
But they need to take care of them because if you can't see the business doesn't exist. And sadly, Colusa, I mean, it's lovely having all the trees downtown, but you can't see half the businesses.
How many, I always wondered this. How many towns, cities have the tagline City of Trees?
Oh, I think that's all of California.
Because I like Woodland, Stockton,
Well,
Colusa.
what was it? No more than 2-3 years ago when the county cut down the trees in the front. Huge outcry. People were upset. I myself was even kind of upset, but having experience with that type of a tree at my own private house, I understood their reasonings. But I tell you now that seeing that courthouse is beautiful.
It's beautiful.
I mean, it's so nice.
I didn't know there was a little bear up there.
The also thing that the city of Colusa has struggling is that Market Street is controlled by Caltrans.
Yeah.
That's the biggest
Yeah,
downside.
that's rough.
yeah.
So tables and chairs out on the sidewalks, that's Caltrans property. I remember Paul Sankey talking about his smog sign getting stolen from Caltrans. They would just have a truck come by and just pick it up, throw it in the back of their truck and drive off because it was on state property and it wasn't supposed to be there.
Wow.
Well, even with
How did they get away with Old Town Christmas then?
They get a permit and they get
From
it blocked off
Caltrans?
from Caltrans.
Wow.
And that was one of the things when it kind of stopped for a year. They were so afraid that Caltrans was not going to allow them because it's been grandfathered in. It's been happening for so long.
Right.
And they were afraid that Caltrans would say, nope, we can't do that. But
Yeah.
And then last on the list, Colusa's Jonathan Johnson, a United States Navy fire controlman, second class, serves on an aircraft carrier for the USS Harry S. Truman.
I was just reading that. That's awesome.
I guess that's it for this week's headlines. And we have a little bit of a shout out this week. I'd like to give a shout out to Mr. Drew Azevedo. He proudly came into the Pioneer Review office today and purchased his first subscription to the Pioneer Review.
That's awesome. He is legit like one of my favorite people.
He's one of the biggest fans of this show. One of his caretakers was saying that, man, they harass her every morning to make sure that this podcast is up, and when it's
awesome.
not, she has to hear about
that whole
it.
crew. I love that whole crew. Him and Nick and all those guys.
So we
JP.
want to give them all a shout out, and so thanks, Drew, for your
Corinna.
patronage, and thank you for being a listener of the Backpage.
Yeah. Thanks, Drew.
Thanks,
You're
Drew.
awesome.
Thank you so much. So anything else before we end the show for another week?
Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
So, on a side note before we go out, next week is our 1 year anniversary.
No, it's not.
Are you serious?
Really?
Yes.
A whole year
You do this
doing
for a
this?
year?
One whole year.
Sounds like a perfect time to quit.
Ooh, are we gonna get a cake? Can I bring a cake?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
we can have a
candles.
cake. We can have a party up to 10 people, unless we're in
Wait,
phase 3, then we
wait.
can move to 25.
Can we have a balloon arch?
Oh my gosh! Yes. At least get us some balloons.
I'll get you a balloon arch.
One single balloon.
She never said what size of a balloon arch. Go on Amazon.
Just
There's
get
a
one of
Barbie doll
those,
one.
you know, those clown balloons, the big long skinny ones. They turn into dogs and giraffes and stuff. Just get one of those and just tape the both ends to the table. There's your arch.
There we go. We got our balloon arch for next
Hey,
week.
I'll take any. I love balloons. Balloons are my thing. Flowers, not so much.
Your
Balloons,
Valentine's Day balloon is still going
Yeah.
strong.
Dang.
I bought our balloon on Valentine's Day. It is still up.
Wow.
Yep.
One of the Mylar
Wait,
ones,
wait,
or
exactly 3 months to the day later.
Yeah.
wow, yeah, it is the 14th. Yeah, wow,
Yeah. Wow.
that's some quality helium and a quality balloon.
Yeah. Fouches gets the good stuff.
They do.
It's a
they
pure.
do.
They don't put helium. They put pure hydrogen in there. Lighter.
Yeah, but would it be thinner?
I don't know.
Because that's the problem. But not that we get into science here, but
Actually, helium would be more stable because it's.
stable. That's a different thing. But helium.
What's the half life
reason
of
why-
hydrogen?
It's not the life. Helium is actually the particles are just small enough that they can go through the latex balloon. That's why they actually deflate
Well, hydrogen would be smaller, so it would go down faster.
faster.
If that's the case.
Yes,
If
because that's
the case.
most of the times, like the Mylar ones, there's not much of a problem. That's why they last longer. But the latex balloons, they usually put like a glue substance in it
Yeah,
to
they do
coat the
that.
balloon so
At
that
Fauci's,
way.
they blow it up a little bit, and then they stick it on this one thing, and it goes, and then they fill it the rest of it back
Yeah.
up.
And so that way that the helium will stay in the balloon longer. Otherwise, the latex balloons nowadays last like 2 days,
That's-
2 hours.
That's 2 things we learned today.
yeah. 2. See, I wasn't too far off from my statement
We
at the
better go
beginning.
before my head explodes with all this newfound knowledge.
All
So,
right. Thanks everybody for listening. And
thanks.
we'll see you in the next one. Or maybe it'll just me. Because, they won't sign the contract.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
What kind of perks do we
long.
get in the new contract?
Bye.
Toodly-doo.
No perks, huh?
No
I guess we're
perks.
not negotiating on air.